Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. Today is another deck video, and today we are looking at a Trilogy deck that I've built. This is the first deck that I've built that's for Trilogy, so it's using stuff from the two-player starter game, Legacies, Rivals, as well as the Luke and Boba Fett starter sets. Once more cards get released for this cycle, there will be a bigger pool for Trilogy, but currently the pool is fairly limited, and it's pretty fun to deck build for Trilogy because you don't have to worry about making room for like stuff like Force Speed and things like that. Anything in the Awakening cycle can't be used in a Trilogy game or Trilogy format deck unless it's been reprinted in like the two-player starter game because there's a couple cards from that set that are reprinted from older sets. Anyway, so we're running Yoda and Saw. We're running the Outer Rim Outpost from the starter set, Luke's starter set, I believe. Gain a resource and draw a card. So basically, you claim it, you get a resource, and you get to draw a card. I was considering also using the Imperial Palace, which lets you look at your opponent's hand and discard a card from it. However, that is going to have a negative impact on you as well if they claim and they discard a card that you really needed in your next round or something. So we have Yoda at Elite. 13 points, 10 health, 2 focus, disrupt, discard, shield, double specials. Special, choose and do 2 of the following. Gain a resource, give a character a shield, turn one of your dice to any side, or discard the top card of a deck. This is mostly a mill deck, so we're going to be using the option to discard a card, as well as the option to turn one of our other dice to any side, so we can chain specials together. Next up, we have Saw Gerrera. He's also elite at 16 points, 11 health, two disrupt or 2 indirect, 3 indirect, disrupt, resource, special blank. Special is that you discard a card from a player's hand, then deal indirect damage to an opponent equal to the cost of the card that got discarded. So you can discard your opponent's cards. You can also have them discard cards from your hand as well. So in another deck, I've paired Saw with Hera, where I had my opponent discard one of my cards, and they discarded a pirate speeder tank and took 5 direct damage. In this one, since this deck mostly mills off the top of their deck, it doesn't really hit their hand all that hard. We're going to be using his special to discard our opponent's cards from their hand, and then they'll be taking indirect damage. Let's move into our upgrades. We only have a few of them. We have 2 bartering. So 1 cost, focus, discard, resource, +1 resource, special blank. Special is gain a resource. You may force each opponent to draw a card. So it gives us focus, so we can flip our other dice to specials or other discard sides or stuff like that. Has discard to get rid of cards out of opponent's hand, and it also has the special, which we get a resource, and we can force our opponent to draw a card. That could work in a mill game where are keeping their hand full. Let's say they have 1 card left in their deck. You can force them to draw it, and then potentially hit the rest of their hand with discard sides and things like that. We have 2 force focus from the Luke starter. 2 cost, shield, resource, special blank. To play spot a blue character. So you had to spot a blue character to play it, but it doesn't have to go on a blue character. So I can throw this on Saw if I want to, if Yoda is still alive. So special, turn one of your dice to any side. You may reveal a blue card from your hand to turn an opponent's die to any side. So we'll be able to use this with Yoda and force chain into this, or special chain into it, where Yoda will be able to flip this to a special. We'll then be able to flip another one of our dice to a special with this special. If we also reveal a card, we can maybe blank out some of our opponent's dice and things like that. So this is in there for special training. And we also have 2 force meditation. So 2 cost, focus, shield, resource, special blank to play spot a blue character. And special is discard the top 2 cards of a deck. So we can also special trade into this and then hit more cards out of their deck with the special. Let's go into our supports. We have 2 Bespin Wing Guards from the Rivals draft set. 1 cost. As an action, you can exhaust it, spend the resource, force an opponent to choose and discard a card from their hand. This will help us with getting cards out of our opponent's hand. As the deck hits the deck mills off the deck mostly. However, we can use Bespin Wing Guard to get rid of cards out of their hand. So let's say they have 1 card left in their hand, and the round is almost over. I can exhaust this, pay a resource, cause them to discard it, and then the next round starts. They'll have no cards in hand possibly, and no cards in deck, which would cause us to win. We have 2 R2D2. This is in here for special training as well. So 1 cost, 1 melee, disrupt, shield, resource, special. Special, draw a card. You may turn one of your dice to any side. So obviously we'll use this to turn a die to a special, which will let us, like if you do it with Yoda, turn another die to a special, and so on. And finally, for our supports, we have 2 scrap heap. So 1 cost, after you discard one or more cards from an opponent's deck, you may exhaust this support to gain a resource. So if a deck hits their deck pretty hard with discard, so we'll be able to exhaust this to gain a resource when we discard off the top of their deck. Into our events, we have 2 concentrate for the starter, or 2-player starter. Special, or not special, cost 1. Turn one of your dice to any side. You may spend 1 resource to turn another one of your dice to any side. So we do this, we turn something into a special. If it doesn't get removed or something, we can then use this to help special train. We have 2 easy pickings. One resource, spot a yellow character to remove 2 dice showing the same symbol and value, ignoring modifiers and resource costs. So this gets rid of anything. Let's say your opponent rolled in with, let's say they rolled wedge or something with his 2 indirect side on both his dice. You can use this to get rid of both of those cards, or both of those dice. It works really well with specials too. You have 2 explosive tactics, 2 cost. Discard the top card of a deck, then deal indirect damage to an opponent equal to its cost. So you're getting rid of a card and dealing indirect damage. If it's a 0 cost, it's not going to do any damage, but you're still getting rid of the card, which is nice. We have 2 Field of Force. 1 cost. Turn a blue die to any side. So let's say you didn't roll any specials for some reason. You can use this to turn Yoda to a special, which will then enable you to special chain. We have 2 Heightened Awareness. 2 cost. Has Ambush. Give a character 3 shields. So this will just help keep your characters alive a little bit longer, and then you also get that extra action with Ambush. We have 2 Hidden Motive from the Rivals draft set, 0 cost. Choose a symbol, then re-roll an opponent's die. If that die just rolled the chosen symbol, remove it. So this is pretty much an auto-included blue decks, I think, or at least should be. If they rolled out damage, you basically just call out that same damage with Hidden Motive. They re-roll it. If it hits that the symbol that you just called, the die gets removed. And if it hits something else, it's probably not what they wanted anyway. So they may even be forced to re-roll that later in the round. We have 2 Impulsive. So 0 cost. It has Ambush. Resolve 1 of your dice. So we can, let's say we have Yoda on double focus. We can resolve Yoda's double focus into some specials, and special train, or maybe even like focus, like force meditation into special and focus saw into special. Then take another action with ambush and use both of those specials for saw to discard a card from the hand. They take indirect damage based on the cost, and then you do force meditation to discard 2 cards from their deck. We have 2 Mislead, 1 cost. Remove a character die showing a value of 2 or less. Pretty simple. And 2 Strength through Weakness, 3 cost. Discard the top 4 cards of a deck. So in a lot of decks I've seen this as a one of. It's kind of expensive at 3, but this deck does have multiple ways to get resources. So we have the Scrap Heap, which whenever we discard a card off the top of the deck, we can exhaust it to gain a resource. R2D2 has a resource side. Force Meditation has a resource side. Force Focus has resource sides, as does Bartering. Yoda can get a resource with his special. And Saw Gerrera also has a resource side. So we'll be able to probably play this twice. Like I said, I've seen it as a one of in a lot of decks. But I think in this deck it could be pretty good. So you pay 3 resources, get rid of 4 cards. And then if you got Scrap Heap, let's say you have both Scrap Heaps out, you can exhaust both and get 2 resources back, basically. So this has just been a Trilogy deck. There'll be a link to the deck list, or the deck list will be in the description below. This is, again, the first Trilogy deck I've built. I'm looking forward to building more Trilogy decks. Hoping this deck does well. I'm going to bring it out to an event tomorrow night and possibly give it a shot. And that's going to do it for this video. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching.